Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Romero Threads Saturday morning embroidery school. Welcome. Let me just make sure we're good to go here. Looks like we're good to go. All right. Uh, Everybody's ready to go. Yep. Okay. We have a jam-packed episode today. Okay. Yep. We're good. Got the audio here. Good. All right. Welcome to the Romero Threads Embroidery School, Saturday morning, where we go live this year every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and 9 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, so whatever time in Europe or across the pond, okay, probably 5, 8 hours after that. All right. So today's episode, okay, we are, as you can see here on my on the software here, okay, we're gonna focus on something that's very, very important, which is the knockdown stitch. Okay, many different other names, but the most common name, knockdown stitch. And a lot of times when people are struggling with anything with fluffy type of fabric, for example, beanies, towels, Sherpa, sweaters, okay, anything that has fluff, okay, a lot of times, let's say they have little small thin text, okay, that text could kind of get lost in the fluff. All right. And sometimes it's nothing they're doing wrong. It's not like the digitizing is wrong. Sometimes the digitizing is perfectly fine, but they're forgetting a little small detail, which is the knockdown stitch. Okay. And when I first started, I used to buy like pre-made knockdown stitches, okay? But the problem is sometimes these knockdown stitches had unnecessary thousands and thousands of extra stitches, which in maybe some applications probably was useful, but it wasn't useful in every application. All right, so that's my only thing about buying something that's already pre-made. Okay, whoever made that, he made it. He probably or he or she probably made it for a specific application. Okay, but if you have control of your knockdown stitch, if you know why something is not working, um, or something doesn't look right, and you have full control of your knockdown stitch, okay, now you can control how many stitches you have. All right. And sometimes it's a matter of it's a difference of 1,000 stitches, which we're going to talk about here. Okay. So I think even if you're not digitizing your own files, even if you're sending it out, okay, sometimes you still have to know how to do this very basic skill. Okay. And the reason why you have to know it, for example, okay, let me give you one good example. Let's say you send out a logo for a polo shirt in the summer, okay, and you knocked out a ton of polo shirts, okay. Now that same customer, they love the work that you did, but now they want beanies, okay. So instead of having to go and uh, tell the digitizers, hey, can you do a knockdown stitch for a beanie? You already have the file ready. You could just simply create your own knockdown stitch. All right. So you're going to see how simple it is, how easy it can be. All right. And just like anything else with practice, all right, the more you practice, the more you experiment with certain skills, the better you become. Okay. So in today's live video, I want to talk about the details. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, the who, what, where, when, how, whys about knockdown stitches. All right. We're going to talk about some common mistakes that you might see and some skills or some tricks to kind of speed up your knockdown stitch. All right, so let's kind of take a quick look at the chat. All right, looks like we're ready to go here. All right, let me see. We got William Stewart. Can't wait for my 15 to arrive. All right, congratulations. All right. As soon as it arrives, your life will never be the same again. Okay, because you're gonna be constantly just thinking about embroidery. All right, and hopefully, you love embroidery and you get real into it, where to the point where you kind of pick it up real quick. All right, but just like one thing about embroidery, I just kind of give you kind of like my 2 cents about it. It is not easy. Okay, it takes a lot of practice. You are not going to master it on your first week, on your first month, maybe not even in your first 6 months. All right. It's all about practice, 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 doing repetitions over and over and over with little minor tweak changes to see, because sometimes in the software, you make little minor changes and it completely changes everything. All right. One little small tweak could literally fix a design. All right. So the more you know about all the small details, the easier it is to understand the machine. Okay, so yeah, good luck as soon as you get that. All right. All right, we got Scott Canning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, we got Bevy Jean. Good morning. And we have Barb. Good morning, Barb, from North Central Minnesota. All right, 1 degrees, so it's real cold. All right, expecting 4 to 6 inches of snow today. All right, that's cool. All right, I'm pretty sure that's nothing to you coming from Minnesota. All right, we got Sradivi. All right. Good morning from Portland, Oregon. All right. Let's see. Let's see. We got Robin Cook. All right. From Grand Rapids. It's 5 degrees there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's cold here. Let me see. Yeah. 3 degrees here. 3 degrees here in northern side of Chicago. All right. Good morning from Portland. All right. So we pretty much got everybody from all over. All right. So, all right. Cool. Cool. All right. So let's get this party started right now. All right. Actually, let me do a quick camera check. Let me make sure we're good here. Okay. Yep, got that. All right. So we're gonna be working on beanies today also with as a sample for the knockdown stitch. Let me turn this off here. All right, cool. All right, I think we are ready to go. Actually, our design, let me talk about the design that I'm gonna design today. All right. It's inspired by a movie that I was watching earlier this week. All right. Many of you know this movie. All right. As soon as I like put on this the screen capture that I got, all right, you're already gonna know what it is. All right, so let's see what it is. Our design, bam. All right, so it has the name on it right there. But as you can see, this is kind of the design that I'm gonna go with today. All right, I don't know about you, but this is one of my top 5 movies of all time. Right, Scarface. All right, so let me just show you kind of how I came up with this design that we're gonna do today. All right, right, it's like that famous scene, right, where it's like that's that point where everything's never gonna be the same for Scarface, right? So the blimp, everybody's familiar with "The World Is Yours," all right, and then you kind of see him kind of right there, and he sees the blimp, all right. So and then that famous scene, right? One of the most iconic scenes of all time. All right. So today's design, I kind of got inspired by this one right here. All right. So I took that screenshot of that screen, that first one that we see here. All right, this one here, and I just made a silhouette of it. All right, and then I put "The World Is Yours." All right, so we're gonna do a beanie with this design here. All right, it's perfect time to go over knockdown stitches and also text on beanies. All right, because usually you'll see a lot of times people are struggling with text on beanies. Okay, and of course you have to have your text nice and visible on a beanie. Okay, you don't want it to get lost in the fluff. All right. All right. So cool. Let me see. What else do I got? Yeah. So this is what it ended up being. All right. So all I did was take that picture to Illustrator and then I made a silhouette and then I added those words there. All right. So it went from here to here. All right. So bam. All right. That's kind of like a preview of what we're going to be working on today. All right. Let me switch out right here. Let me just switch screens. All right. So today before we even get into the digitizing of that artwork, let's go over some basics, some basic information. All right, stuff that it's gonna go from basic. We're gonna start very basic, and we're gonna slowly get into the more advanced type stuff. Okay, if it becomes too overwhelming, it's okay. All right, it's okay. It's just information that's here. So by the time you understand the basics, you can pick up more information, more information. All right, but a lot of times you'll know where certain things come from, and we'll talk about certain vocabulary that you'll hear thrown around a lot of times. All right. If you have any questions for today as I'm going, just put a Q right in front of it. And when we're stitching, when we take it to the machine and we're kind of waiting for it to stitch out, I can go over some questions at that time. All right. It could be about whatever. Okay. It could be about this topic here. Um, or anything about embroidery. All right. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but we do have some very good seasoned embroiderers here in the chat also, and we have people that specialize in different type of areas. So maybe somebody could come in and help answer questions. All right. That's always appreciated because you'll be surprised how much talent, right? If we put all our talent together, all right, it's a lot of information that we can learn from. All right. All right. So let's start off with this one right here. So this is these are just basic shapes that I kind of introduced a while ago on a previous live video. Okay, but I want to use these shapes to kind of talk about our knockdown stitches. All right. So first of all, what's a knockdown stitch? Okay, what's a knockdown stitch? Knockdown stitch. Anytime you have too much fluff. All right. So I always use the beanie, all right, as an example, perfect example, all right. So it's very plush, all right. The thing is, if you make small text, okay, it starts getting lost in this fluff, all right. So what you have to do, you have to lay down a base, all right. So it's like a net, like a netting that we're gonna lay down, just so when we embroider the actual design, it's laying on a nice net, okay. So on a grid. All right. So just think about that. We're pushing down that fluffiness just so our thread can lay on a nice, flat, even bed. All right. So the thing about knockdown stitches, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. Okay. Just like everything with embroidery, right? There's always a million ways to do different things. All right. I want to give you three ways that you can do knockdown stitches. Okay. No matter what software you have, anybody can do knockdown stitches. Okay. Um, of course, the more advanced type software, you could probably do something more fancier, but sometimes you don't need fancy. You just need a good old fashioned grid. All right. With an old fashioned grid, you're good to go. All right. So let me show you step number one, how to go about doing our knockdown stitch. The first step is actually it's you do this first step with every other different way. All right. So the first thing is to outline our artwork. All right. So as soon as I click this, hold on, it went on wait mode. Okay. So we're just gonna trace. All right. Hold on. It's kind of like freezing up right now on me. I don't have any programs open on this one. All right, give me 1 second. The computer's thinking right now. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna outline this heart right here. Okay, and that's one skill. Okay, mandatory skill as a digitizer is like the first skill to have is how to outline objects or designs. Right, that's always step number one. All right, looks like we're good. If it freezes up again, I'll probably just refresh this computer. All right. All right, let's see what happens when I click. All right, we're good. All right, so as you can see here, anytime I'm gonna make a sharp turn, so here I was like coming in and then I'm making a sharp turn. So you'll hear me call a straight line. All right. Then here I'm just gonna do curves. All right. So right now I'm just outlining my design. Actually, let me start again, make sure that I have an outline run. All right, let's put color blue here. All right, so I'm just gonna outline. All right, this is a skill that uh, even if you master digitizing, you're always learning something from tracing designs. Okay, it's not like you learn how to trace designs and there you're never going to learn anything again. Okay, this is a skill that continuously you work on. All right. You just move faster and faster, and you'll always find better ways to do things. All right, because there's even ways that I kind of started doing things, and I switch it up like a month later. All right, so here we go. Let's dim our artwork. All right, so we got a perfect outline. Okay, so that's all created by your digitizing closed shape. Everybody has a digitizing closed shape. All right, well, most people, right? Well, most people. Okay, that's just a common feature on any software. Okay, all right. This kind of creates starts your knockdown stitch. Okay, because with this outline, uh, you can do a lot of different things. All right, so first thing that you want to do, all right, as soon as you outline this design, you could create an offset. Okay, so let's say you want that knockdown stitch to be a little bit bigger than your actual design. Okay, so of course you're gonna make an offset. So I always do the simple offset, and you could do 1.5 or depending um how much bigger you want your knockdown stitch. All right, 1.5. I'll put 3 just so you could see the difference. All right, number of offsets, I just need 1. I don't need to create offset for holes. All right, so it's gonna think right now, and there you go. This is my offset. All right, so this outer line, okay, this is my offset. All right, so here 3 millimeters is a little big, so let me just create another one. I'm just gonna make it 2 millimeters, or yeah, usually I do 1.5 millimeters, but I'll do 2 right here. All right, so it's thinking, bam. All right, now this red, that red, um, this red outline now. Now this is gonna be the boundaries of my tatami of my knockdown stitch. All right, so now I can hide this blue one, hide this blue one, hide. All right, now let me show you the different ways. All right, so way number 1, you select this outer, and the old-fashioned way that you're gonna see it is just by putting a motif fill. All right, motif. All right, that's gonna be a good topic we're gonna talk about. All right, because motifs are very, very useful, especially design wise. You can be very creative with motif fills. All right, and in our example here for knockdown stitches, we're gonna use it for for the most basic reasons. All right, we're gonna use it for the most basic reason, and that's just to put our knockdown stitch, or as you can see, it's a grid. All right, it's a grid here, and so this is kite 1. You'll have a bunch. Okay, so one thing you want to do is you want to play with all the different motifs that your software has. Okay, because your software is gonna have a ton of different motifs. All right, as you can see right here, you could use these motifs as knockdown stitches. All right, some of them are too like with a design. It has too much of a design. Okay, which probably will be very unnecessary. All right, but sometimes you could put a design as a as a knockdown stitch. Now, this is one thing that we got to take into account. All right, there are some that look very good potentially to use, but what you have to be aware of is how many stitches. So here on my right hand side, I have to be aware of how many stitches I have. Okay, so for example, let me get into inches. All right, let me go into inches, turn this into height. Let's go 2 inches height. All right, so I just made it a little bigger. All right, so as you can see here, I have 873 stitches. All right, which is all right. Okay, but as you're playing or as you're working with different ones, I use this one here. I used kite. All right, I use this kite. So as you can see here, now my stitches went all the way up to 1400 stitches. All right, so with different selections, you get different amount of stitches. All right, so here we jumped up to 1475. It's just covering more space. So this is where you, when you're making your designs, you got to make a judgment call. Is how thick is my garment? Okay, if you have a very plush, um, extra fluffy Sherpa sweater, you might have to add more knockdown to your design. Okay, so a lot of this is just a judgment call. All right, for beanies, all right, for beanies, especially this is another reason why too. Beanies usually have small text, so even small text or thin designs that requires more knockdown. Okay, so this is where you're making that determination on which motif you're going to use depending on how thick your product is. Okay, so here we're designing, but like my side view is looking at that stitch count, 1475. Okay, and sometimes if you're doing one design, it's not a big deal, but it becomes a big deal once you get into like the 2448 quantity if you have a single head. Okay, so it's gonna play a big role, those extra hundred of stitches that you're going to add here. All right, so that's something that you want to look at. Okay, so you have, it's like so many different type of possibilities that you have for knockdown stitches. All right, this is another one that I like to use, height 12. All right, so let's go back into millimeters. All right, here it has it at 10 millimeters. You could switch this. All right, you could, it's a little bit it's not too dense, but you could switch it, the size of it. So let's go at a 4. Okay, 4 millimeters. All right, and this is where you start playing with settings. Okay, the settings, let's say here, I chose it at 4 millimeters. What that is, pull out the ruler. That's from one corner to the next here. All right, that's 4 millimeters. You're controlling that motif. You're controlling the spacing of it. Okay, and but from stitch to stitch, we're looking at about 1.43, okay, per stitch. Okay, it's gonna stitch one here, it's gonna stitch another one here. Okay, it's just gonna do that over and over and over. All right, so let's look at a replay and let's see how that looks. All right, so H. I like to start my motifs, my knockdown stitches starting on one side and ending on another side. That way you don't get too much sandwiching. Okay, here on this heart, we might get sandwiching. I'll tell you what sandwiching is right here. I just made up that word, okay? So that's not really like a technical term, but sandwiching, I'll show you what sandwiching is. All right, we start here. Let's take a look at how this sews out. All right, let's put away this background. All right, Control R. All right, this is the actual sew out. So it's gonna do this top part. It's gonna go around. Okay, speed it up a bit. So it does this part. Okay, so it's doing it pretty cool here. All right. All right, so this one look pretty good. When I say sandwiching, this is what I'm talking about. It didn't do it too much on this one, but it's gonna do one. So it does one side on top, and then it goes back down and does the bottom part. So what happens when you sandwich it? If you're doing half the top and then the half the bottom, you're gonna probably get a little like a piece of that garment sticking out towards the middle side. So the way I like to do it, I like to start it on one side and push. It's like you're pushing that garment, that extra fluff to one side. Okay. So here we didn't have too much of that. Okay. So it actually worked pretty good. All right. So here we have 1455 stitches. All right. So you're actually getting good coverage. All right. This would be for something very thick. All right. But if you don't need that many thickness, okay, you could kind of tell when you're doing your samples, you could kind of tell how much knockdown you need. Okay, there it's like no one knockdown could take care of all your knockdown needs, because even if you have a specific knockdown for a beanie, okay, different designs can call for different knockdown settings. All right. So if you have something with text like our design today, it's gonna have small little text. I'm gonna want as much knockdown as necessary. All right. But if you have very thick type stitches or big fill stitches, you might not need as many knockdown stitches here. Okay. So if you don't need it, you can always go back and adjust your settings up here. So the X, Y, okay. You can make it a little bit more open space. All right. So let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions on this one here. So this is the creating a knockdown stitch using a motif. All right, using a motif, you can get very creative with using motifs. Okay, you'll find once you go through all your motifs, you'll find out which is your favorite motif for knockdown stitches. All right, so my favorite motif, I like this one. Okay, I actually like which one is it? I like this one. Kite one. It is very dense. Okay, it is very dense. And one thing to note, this is another thing you want to know. All right, so I'm gonna push the replay. This one here, it does stuff double. All right, it doubles the stitches. It goes back and forth. All right, so that's another thing you want to look for. So right now I'm doing the replay. You could see it goes one side. Let me fast forward this a bit so we can see. So as you can see here, it's gonna double up on the stitches. So it goes 1, 2, 1, 2. Forward, it goes um, stitch forward, stitch back, stitch forward. Okay, as you can see it here. All right. Um, a lot of a lot of designs that I do on beanies. Okay, I'm talking about uh, very detailed type. Okay, so we're talking about like once you start doing eagles and wings and little small details, might require more more knockdown. Okay, so always keep that in mind. Your settings depends on two things: is the thickness of your garment and the thinness of your design. All right, all right. Let's see. Bam, bam. Let's check out this question that I got right here. All right, T-Town shirts. Good morning. So would you use the color of hat for the knockdown, or whatever color you're doing it on top? Yep. Perfect question. Thank you for reminding me. All right. If you are working on this black beanie, your knockdown stitch is going to be black. Okay, you want to blend in with the color of the garment. All right, you don't want the knockdown stitch to be visible. There are certain designs where you do want your knockdown stitch. It's like part of the design. You want it to stand out. That's a whole different case. All right. But in this situation, we just want to control that fluffiness. We want to tamp down, and we want to flatten out our area where the design is going to land. All right. So very good question. All right. Let me see if I got anything here. Mm, mm, mm. All right. I think we're good right now. All right. Um, Image is blurry. What software is he using? All right. Let me know if my screen is not coming out crystal clear. All right. I'm using Wilcom 4.5. All right. It does have a lot of features, this one, but I try to keep it very basic. All right. For the training, I try to keep it as basic to the regular, normal type level that most everybody has feature wise. Okay. All right. Let's go. This was way number one. Okay. This is the first way how to create a knockdown stitch. Let me show you second way. All right. So let's go back to a regular outline. Okay. Regular outline stitch. All right. Second way. Pretty cool way. This way, I like it. All right. Image looks clear from here. All right. Thank you, Barb. Appreciate that. All right. I could even probably, oh, I could remove myself from there. Okay. Um, Even zoom it in a little bit more. All right. Let's go way number 2. Okay. This is the second way how to create knockdown stitch is just turn it into a fill stitch. All right. But we're going to have to adjust a lot of settings here. All right. So we're going to go to a tatami stitch. All right. The world famous tatami stitch. All right. Of course, we wouldn't use this. We wouldn't use this as our fill stitch. Okay. As our knockdown stitch. All right. Actually, I'm going to start here and here. All right. So this is where you want to mess with the settings. All right. Now we're going to get into the settings and we're going to talk about each setting, what it does, and its specific role. All right. So let me make some space here. All right. Spacing 4 millimeters. Actually, let's go 8 so it can make sense. I probably have some underlay. Yeah. Take all this out. We don't need underlay. All right. Bam, bam. All right. We could bring it back to a 4 here. Actually, a 5. All right, so tatami stitch, you have two main settings that you're always messing with. All right, the tatami stitch. It's always a judgment call how much fill you want, but we're gonna use the tatami stitch uh, as a knockdown stitch here. All right. Good thing here is that you have a lot of control here. All right, you're pulling a lot of strings right here, as in control wise. All right, that's the best thing you want to have in your design is as much control as possible. So here, okay, I have a spacing of 4, I have a spacing of 5, length of 4 millimeters. Let's talk about that. All right. What are they talking about here? Okay. Um, Hold on. This one I gotta show it too. Make sure. All right. Kind of want to show you this example here. Okay, let's talk about this here. There's a setting for length. Okay. There's a setting here for length and a setting for spacing. Okay, let's talk about length first. All right. Hold on. Let's talk about length first. All right. We're going to take out the measurement tool. Okay. So these are my stitches. Okay. As you can see, they're going diagonally. All right. So length is let's say you're taking a walk, right? You're walking forward. Length is how long was that forward step you took. Okay. So if you're walking, length is how far did you move forward. Okay. So here on this one, if we measure it from this step and you're moving forward, okay, it's 4 millimeters. All right, 4 millimeters. So that's what we put in our software. So a lot of this stuff you're controlling. Okay, you're telling the design exactly the details that you want. Okay, according to whatever garment you have. All right, spacing. Okay, so length is from taking one step forward. Okay, how many steps are you taking forward? We're taking 4 millimeter of a step. Okay, the smaller your step. Okay, each time you take a step, that's a stitch. Okay, that's needle going down, connecting with bobbin. All right, going to the next one. Okay, so that's length. Space. Okay, so our second setting is spacing. That is how close is that person to the side of me. Okay, so I'm here walking straight, but how close is that person next to me on the side? Okay, so spacing is how far is that person to the side. So if we measure here to the side, okay, you would think it's this first one, but it's the second one when that thread is coming back. Okay, so our setting, we put it at 5. All right, so that is our 2 settings we got to think about when you're working with tatami stitches. All right. All right, so I think this is a pretty safe one. You could probably make it less, right? It all depends, like I said before. It all depends the thickness of your garment and the thinness of your design. So little small curvy text, you might need more knockdown power. All right. All right. So here, this is kind of just going on one angle, right? We want to crisscross that. Okay. We want to crisscross this here. All right. What I like to do is just some quick settings. Let's talk about some quick settings that I like to do. Backstitch. I like to make it squared. So see how it became squared on the edges. All right. And my start and stop, I like to start, you could start anywhere, right? But since I'm going at this diagonal, I'll start here and here on the left side. All right, so we're good here. All right, now let's select this, and this is where we're gonna crisscross them. All right, so one side goes diagonal, and we wanna crisscross it. So we're gonna duplicate, we're gonna Control D. Okay, so notice, actually, let me make this full screen. So let me rewind that. So I select the heart, Control D, duplicate, whatever your hotkey on your software is. All right, every software has duplicate. All right, that's just any um, art or graphic design. It's there's a duplicate. All right, we're gonna duplicate. So I have a design on top of a design, and I'm going to reflect it. All right, reflect it. Bam. So I created my crisscross. All right, get my start and stop. So since I ended on this side, I want to start on this side, and we'll end here. All right. So now you have your knockdown stitch here. And if you want to control thickness or the dents of your knockdown stitch, all right, you could select both at the same time and then control it from there. All right. So if we want to open it up, we could put 8. Okay, all depending on your design. All right. If you really want to go more, you want to add more, you could keep on adding more. You could duplicate another one. Okay. Um, and just change the angle. So down here, I have the ability to change angle. It's at a 0 degree. Okay, I could just put 90. Uh, Hold on. And don't know if I gotta reflect. Oh, all right, hold on. H, change these angles. All right, so you could change the angles here on the, all right, so you could add more crosses or bars, however you want to do them. All right. Oh, it's right here. This is my angle. So if I go 90, all right, that's just if you want to add more, and you want to have more control of your knockdown. All right. So here, the main goal here, as you can see, is having control of your settings of your knockdown stitches. Okay, because sometimes it's not necessary to overload your garment with knockdown stitch. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is necessary. All right. That's why that was my problem when I first started buying already template made knockdown stitches. Okay, sometimes it was like something very basic, something simple, and I was getting up to 3,000 stitches. All right, which is overkill because once you're doing a an order of 24 or more, all right, you're gonna feel that that's like time that's not the most useful time. All right, just doing unnecessary knockdown stitches. So a lot of the small details, you take care of it up front, and when you're in production mode, okay, you're saving a lot of time there. All right. So if you look here on the right hand side, you see how many stitches we have. All right. We have 100. So let's say 200, 300, or 246. All right. Let's just estimate to the highest 200, 600 stitches. All right. And you're getting good coverage here. All right. You're getting good coverage. So here, the tatami, this style to do it, I like it because first of all, you have control of it. Second, you very low stitch count. Okay, very low stitch count. And you can change settings within each crosses, all right? Um, and then you always want to take into account that you don't have any unnecessary cuts. All right, so you always make sure wherever the you're always using apply closest joint, or you control just so you don't have any cuts within your knockdown stitches. All right, all right. Let's check out some questions there before we get into the third way. Um, bam, bam. All right. Good morning, Sogoli. All right. Audrey, great explanation. Thank you. All right. Patty Glover, I have Hatch. Can you do knockdown stitch in that program? Yep. So everything I'm doing right here, you can do it in Hatch. All right. So I started with Hatch, and I would say at least 80% of what I do here on Wilcom, I can easily do it on Hatch. Okay. Well, I don't know about 80%, but the work that I do, okay, the work that I do, 80% of the stuff I could have done it. Um, so yes, definitely go through all your motif and your tatami stitches settings. You can definitely do it in Hatch. All right, bam, bam. All right, Beverly. Good morning. We'll catch the replay. Yep, we're here. All right, we're gonna always post it live. I mean, we're gonna always gonna have the live posted on the replay, because sometimes you see it the first time, but you kind of like forgot little details, right? So you can always go back. And what I'm gonna try to do also, I'm gonna try to not bookmark them, but categorize them in chapters. All right, or time code them. Okay, I want to time code all the lives. That way, if there's something that you kind of like remember, like, oh, I think we talked about that in the live. Okay, you could just simply scroll down and click on that exact time code period. All right. So that's on my to-do list for this week, is to time code all my lives. All right, which is gonna kind of uh, take me a minute to do. All right. All right. Good stuff. All right. Now let's go over third way. All right. Let's talk about the third way. All right. So let me delete these. Oh, let me just delete two. All right. So I'm back with, hold on, stitch. Let's bring it back to a regular run stitch. All right. Regular run stitch. All right. Now this is a third way. This is a way that I like to do it. It's very clean. Leaves everything very sharp. Okay. Um, and that is, oh, actually, hold on. Let me rewind. Let me go back one. I want to show you something cool. Okay. Let's bring this back. All right. Let's delete this third one. All right. You see these underlays that are down here, or not the underlay, but the run stitches. Okay. Sometimes you could get some of these run stitches. Here, let me kind of make them more obvious. All right. Sometimes you have these run stitches running across, right? Because it's trying to find the most efficient way to do things. Okay. You'll have some of these. Right? And sometimes you don't want them, right? You don't want it. It kind of shows within the design. Okay. If you don't want that, and you have this setting here, all right. Trapunto. Okay. That's that setting there. Trapunto. Okay. This is a very good setting. Okay. This is one that not too many software has. All right. But if you do have Trapunto, what it does is it hides these stitches. All right. So it's making everything move on the sides. All right, so you click that. All right, now you have these. And sometimes, all right, because I have a couple designs. So let me duplicate this. Let me just show you something. Okay, make this a sand stitch. All right, because sometimes there are certain designs where you want it to look like that, right? You want this to come. You want that knockdown stitch to actually show. All right, so if you want it to show, so let's say we're doing it on this beanie, and you want that under stitch to show, then you would make it red. So you would use a trapunto. So those underlying uh, running stitches won't show. All right, so just cool thing to know. Just a little FYI right there. Okay, because there are some I've seen some pretty cool designs that have this style for towels. All right, it's very popular for like towels where you could put the names. Okay, and that underlay cross stitch is actually showing through. All right, like you want it to be seen. All right. All right, let's see. Bam, bam. All right, let's go to way number 3, how to create knockdown stitches. All right. This is the way that I like to do it. Let's select that. Let's reset it back to a regular run stitch. All right. I will use this one here, a square stitch. Okay, so we're using a square, and bam, and we're just gonna adjust our settings. So we talked about length and spacing. Okay, so now you already know length is me taking one step forward, and spacing is how close is that stitch next to me. All right, so I'm just gonna put like a basic 3.5, and spacing, let's put it as a 5. All right. All right, so actually that's a lot of spacing. Let's make it 3. Okay, and same thing here. Okay, so it's very similar to the second one that we did. Okay, but with a couple of different things. You can see it's kind of like squared here, and I'm going to duplicate, same thing, and mirror it. Okay, so we get that, and like always, we can adjust our settings here. So let's make 4. All right, and then H. Here, my setting, it doesn't allow me to do the trapunto. Okay, so if you don't have that setting to hide these stitches, then you gotta play with the start and stop. Okay, start, I'll start there, stop here, and here, H. Since I stopped here, I'm gonna start here and here. All right, you could still kind of see it there. What I'm gonna do, you could kind of mess with the start and stops, so you could hide them. All right, so H, start right here. All right. Well, you could play around with it until you kind of lose those lines underneath if you don't have that trapunto. All right. But there you go. Let's see. Mm, and you could also change the angles of it. All right. So this is 60. Let's go at 0 degree. And then this one, 90 degrees. All right. So you could kind of change the way you want your angles to line up on your knockdown stitch, and that'll be important because sometimes, let's say you want to put text up on top of this, right? You want to put, let's create a quick text. All right. Let's say you want to create this. All right. If you want a knockdown stitch, sometimes you don't want the knockdown stitch to run parallel with your letters. Okay. You want it to go uh, kind of a different angle. So this is where you would change your angles. Okay. You want something to kind of uh, go against the actual text. So 120. Okay, so it would make more sense to do something like this. All right, so an actual grid, just so that your text won't start pulling on to those knockdown stitches. All right. All right, so that is 3 ways to create um, knockdown stitches. All right, main thing to the main takeaway. Okay, main takeaway before we start digitizing right now. Main takeaway is have as much control as possible with your knockdown stitch. All right, because there's going to be times where you don't need as much knockdown power. Okay, that's something not too fluffy. And then vice versa, there's going to be times where you need more knockdown power. Okay, it's like your text is not really sharp, and maybe it's because that extra fluff is popping out. Okay, so always have control as much as possible of your designs. All right, and a lot of times once you create, let's say you're gonna make this whole year, you're gonna be making a bunch of beanies, right? We do, especially right now, it's freezing right now. Beanies is like our big thing right now. Okay, we already have our settings kind of dialed in already. All right, so same thing with you. Whatever your design is, okay, there's certain designs that don't require as much knockdown. There are designs that require more knockdown. All right, so let's get into our actual design. All right, bam. I don't have to save this. Save changes. No. All right, before we get into our design, which is bam, no. All right, so I brought in my design. Okay. All right, let's see how we're doing here. All right, let me just see if we have any questions real quick. All right. Bevy Jean, so is your hat puff? So is your hat puff? It looks good. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that I did on that one video where I did the LA one. All right, cool. All right, so what's a list of 3 to 5 softwares from beginning to most advanced? I'm really looking for the most advanced. Oh, all right. I mean, Wilcom 4.5, that's pretty advanced. I mean, that's as advanced as you can get to the Wilcom. There you have polls. Um, you have your different programs. All right. Beginners. I mean, you have them all, right? You have in Brilliance. You have your Hatch. You have your Chromas. Wilcom. All right. Every brand has a beginning. Every brand has a beginners. Every brand has a most advanced. All right. So it's just a matter of which brand you want to go with. All right. All right. Cool. Cool. All right. Let's get this party started right now with our design. So once again, this design, all right, came from that scene from Scarface. All right. All right. We're gonna make this on a beanie. All right. So this is a good example to have for beanie. All right. Let's go full screen. Actually, let's go. Yeah. Let's go like this. All right. Okay. I think I'm good. All right. One thing that I like to do when I bring in artwork, I like to bring in vectors. So I created this in Illustrator, and I brought it in as an EPS file. Okay. Usually your files you could bring it in as JPEGs. You can bring it as PNG files. Okay. I like to just sometimes redesign logos just so I could have that EPS, that vector file, because as you zoom in, look at how perfect your lines get, right? You could zoom in super close and it doesn't look as jagged, right? As some JPEGs. I mean, sometimes you have no other choice but to work with very not so perfectly uh, not design but quality wise logos, all right? But if you have control of your designs, then you can bring it in as an EPS, or you could request to your customer if they have the EPS or the vector file format. All right, it just makes life a little bit easier, but it ain't the end of the world if you don't have it. Right, it's still doable with regular basic JPEG files. All right, so what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna digitize this. I'm gonna digitize the out part of the blimp. Okay, so I wanna talk about this one here, this setting here, column C. Okay, column C is a very good, useful tool to have. Okay, because what column C does, it's gonna allow you to digitize and keep. So let's say you're doing sand stitches. All right, let's say we're doing sand stitches. Column C, it's gonna keep everything at the same distance. All right, so let's say you have some crazy stuff going on like this. All right, it's gonna keep your sand stitches, okay, all the same distance. All right, That way you have consistency from beginning to end. All right, so very useful. So something like this here, where it's a closed shape and we want our sand stitch to be all the same. Okay, we want to use that one, column C. All right, so get familiar with column C. Very good digitizing tool to have. All right, so I'm gonna have this one. Bam. All right, and just like with everything else, if you don't have a column C, it's not the end of the world. You just have to manually create your curves and everything. All right, or not create your curves, but create the distance from your digitizing. All right. All right. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna lock this. K locks it. And let's see. I'm gonna dim it. I gotta select it. Dim it. All right. And we're ready to go. All right. See if I got a question here. All right. T-town shirt. So if you had a text outside the full heart, how would you do the knockdown? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Good question right there. Would you just do rectangle or what? All right. Oh, I like that question. Okay. Let's talk about that real quick. Right here on top. Let's say you want to put text. So let's say I want to put Romero. All right. Create text. Bam. All right. Let's say this is my only design, right? This is all my design right here, Romero. And how do I go about setting up my knockdown stitch for that? So you have a choice. Okay, you have a choice. You can you can just create your own box, right? That is the easy way to do it. Okay, you can put that. You would put that behind with a color blue, right? So this would be the very basic, easy way to do it. I like to do it like this. It looks very clean. It looks very sharp. Okay, makes the letters look very sharp. Okay, so yeah, you could do it like this, or what you can do. Let's delete that. Select Romero again. You can create a same thing, offset. Okay, and then it's thinking. Okay, now with here, all right, we would just make some adjustments because something crazy happened right here. All right, actually, hold on, H. You could just delete this stuff. Oh, hold on, I didn't like that. All right, let's do that again. Simple offset, 2 millimeters. It's thinking. All right, let's adjust those nodes. Crazy stuff happening right here. Delete, delete, delete. All right, we keep it like that. Or you could do it like this if you want it to be the shape of your design. Okay, so two ways to do it. Either box it up or just make an offset. And once you select that, you would, oh, a super motif, right? Let's, mm, hold on. There you go. All right. And then change the color. All right, so two ways to do it. All right, good one. It's all, and these are good questions because I thought about this before the live, and then sometimes I forget to mention it. So good stuff right there. All right. Let's see. I think I saw another question. Donovan, how would you select your needle for knockdown stitch and needle for the design to stitch? Okay. So the needle, it all depends on what garment you're doing it on. Okay. So if we're doing this beanie, you just need a basic ballpoint. Okay. Ballpoint. Just think of sharp is for something very dense, something very tight, such as a hat. Um, a hat may need sharp. Okay, anything thick, hard. Okay, anything that's gonna break a regular needle, you might need sharp. Okay, something fluffy. Just think fluffy, ballpoint. Okay, knit, anything that's stretchy. Okay, something where ballpoint is not too sharp, so it's kind of like moving our garment to the side. All right, it's not gonna rip up. You don't want to use a sharp because it'll start. It can start cutting our design up. All right, let's take one more. Why do you dim it? Okay, why do I dim this design? Just so when I'm tracing over it, I can see through it. All right, because if it's kind of dark like this, I can't see my stitches on top of it. All right, that's the only reason why I dim it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go to column C. We'll start here. Okay. And I'm gonna start it on the inside of my line. Okay. So here, remember, the more practice on tracing designs, the better you get. Okay, so bam. All right. And it doesn't have to be perfect here because I'm going to go back and double check that we're straight. Okay. Because as I'm clicking, I can see that some stuff is not lining up 100%, but that's cool. Okay, we're going to go back. Here, I'm going to do a sharp corner. So I'm going to go from left to right. I mean, from bottom to up. So I'm going to do straight, straight, straight. Bam, bam. Straight, straight, straight. Okay, then we go down here. We're going to do another pivot. Okay, anytime you pivot, you're going to do a straight. All right, and this is all practice. Okay, this is all practice. The more you practice outlining items, the easier it gets, the faster you become. All right, main thing is left click is for my straight turns. So here I'm going to pivot. Anytime you're going to pivot, it's the left. Okay, some softwares have you push control. Okay, so just depending what your software is. All right, so I'm doing, then here I'm doing a curve. So I'm in the middle here, curve, and then pivot. All right, and you want to be accurate, but you don't have to be uh, so accurate where it kind of matches it 100%. It has to be close to it. All right, then we're here. Now we're going to close it up. And here you can either go over it a bit or right before it. I'm just going to go over it a bit and then close it or enter. It's going to tell me to enter the width. I already entered the width here on the right hand side. You see where it says width. I already entered the width. So I'm just going to push enter again. And bam, let's see what just happened right now. Okay. So something cool just happened. All right. Let me actually change it to 3.5. All right. So what happens here, this center run, okay, my distance of my sand stitch is all even here. All right. It's all even. Okay. So that's the cool thing about your column C stitch. All right, it keeps everything. So if you were to manually do this, okay, you would have to uh, you would actually have to digitize according to the actual stroke here. Okay, but here I just had to create that straight line, and it's creating perfect 3.5. So let's see, let's measure this. Measure 3.5. It'll be a little higher because of the push pull. All right, so this is 3. Hold on. Let's take away the push pull real quick. Pull comp. Okay, now when we measure this, bam, 3.5 right there. All right, on the dot. So all my whole sand stitches, they're all perfectly made for 3.5. All right, so that's very useful, that one, the column C stitch. All right, very popular one to get with. So let me pull back my pull comp. Actually, since we're doing beanie, okay, pull comp, I like it at 0.30. All right. Sounds like overkill. All right, but those are my settings for beanies. That's what I like to go with. All right, now, as you can see here, so my corners, all right, don't look so nice right here. Okay, like it looks like it won't come out nice here. Same thing here. Okay, a lot of moving pieces right here. If we keep it like this, it might not look very good. All right, so I'm going to use a very useful setting here called, so here I can control my corners. All right. If you don't have these settings, all right, same thing. You always got to manually do these settings. All right. But here, this is the part that I like. Lap corners. Okay. Bam. what it did here, it adjusted my corners here. Okay, now my corners are adjusted. Okay, you can't really tell here how it looks, all right, but it's kind of making my stitches it's kind of cleaning up my stitches, all right. So let's see what it says. Yeah, lap corners. Okay, so it's gonna make my stitches look more straight and more cleaner. All right, and they're overlapping a bit, all right, just so they could blend in. All right, but very good. So you'll see that, you'll see what I mean when I do the final stitch out. And one final thing here, I want to be able to start. I want this inside border to be the inside of my stitches. So right now it's in the middle. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to create an offset. All right, so let's see, special. All right, so just notice what's going to happen right here. All right, right now I'm kind of in the middle between this part right here, this stroke here. Okay, I want to be on top of that stroke. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna do an offset, go 100%. So that's gonna move me all the way to the right side. All right, and then as soon as I push enter, okay, bam, I'm right on top of that. Okay, this extra stuff, that's my pool comp. Okay, this is my actual line of my design. All right, so now I just moved on the outside part of my design. Okay, so let's look. All right, so now, all right, now it's looking sharp here. Bam, bam, bam. All right, now I want to just verify that my design is perfectly lined up. Okay, so I want to follow this line here. All right, it's good. Remember, if it's like this off, okay, if it's this much off, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Unless it's something that's obvious where it's like standing out. Okay, then you can make adjustments. But overall, everything looks good. Okay. Um, Here it made that adjustment. I could actually, yeah, that's fine right there. I'm good with that. Bam, bam. And that's why the least amount of nodes that you have, the easier it is to come back and edit a lot of this stuff. All right. All right. So we look like we're good. Okay. All right. Cool stuff. All right. All right. Now let's here I'm gonna create my knockdown stitch. Okay, I'm gonna use this here. I'm gonna duplicate. So the same thing that I did there, I'm gonna turn it into a outline. So let me put that first. All right, and let's hide this. Oh, hold on, hide others. All right. So here I am. I'm about to start the knockdown portion of this. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the same techniques that I used in the beginning part. All right, so I select that outer stitch. All right. Actually, oh, digitize closed shape. All right. Actually, it has to be a closed shape to create this. Because I created that C, the column C. All right. It was an open stitch, so it's not going to let me use that as a background. So what I have to do, real quick, bam, unhide all. Uh, S. Let me retrace this real quick, but as a digitized closed shape. Okay. So this is going to take me a quick second. Click. All right. And what I'm doing right now, I have to create a closed shape so I could create this knockdown stitch. All right. So once I create this knockdown stitch, I'm gonna also create I'm gonna create an offset. I'm gonna create an offset. I'm gonna put it at 1.5 my offset. All right. That just means it's the distance is 1.5 millimeters away from the actual design from this actual design that I'm doing right now. Okay. So just real quick. Okay, this is a knockdown stitch, so it doesn't have to be. as perfect as our actual sand stitch. All right, and then once I get here, I could just close it. Okay, see? Yes. So let's hide all. Let's hide all the other ones. All right, cool. Hide others. Oh, wait. Hide this. All right, now I got my outline here. And with this outline, I'm going to create. All right, hold on. Let me see. All right. Okay, created. Hold on, let's start this again. It's not letting me do the fill stitches. Unhide all. S. Let's create this. Let's turn this into a motif fill. Kite 1, that's fine. Okay. Sometimes the software wants to act a little different. Okay. Okay. All I'm doing again, tracing it real quick. It's going to take me about 20 seconds maybe. All right. And then make this pivot here, pivot, pivot. Pivot means just making sharp turns. All right. Still consider a pivot. Turn, turn. Curves, curves. And then pivot here. Pivot, pivot. So pivot, I'm just pushing left click. And then I'm doing one little belly curve right there. Bam, bam. Straight straights. Okay. And I curve here. Then enter. Entry point. All right. Bam. Got it. All right. So I got my knockdown stitch there. Actually, let's select that. Let's select that last one. Let's turn it into, or let's do a run stitch. All right. And let's do an offset, simple offset. Let's move this. I'll move it 3 millimeters just so it can be visible. 3 millimeters. Stinking. Bam. Okay. Actually, let me go a little further than that because it's still writing on that sand stitch. So what I'm going to do, select that and create simple offset. Let's go 6 millimeters. So stinking. Bam. Okay. Now let's put in that motif fill, or let's select it. Select the right one. Bam. Motif fill. Okay. 4, 4. Cool, cool. H. Want to start one side and on the other side. All right. Bam. See. All right. And then we bring this all the way to the top. All right. So we got motif. Okay. Motif is all the knockdown stitch always goes first. All right. We're always going first. Going down here. And then we could delete this one. Delete this one. All right. Cool. 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 All right. Good stuff right there. All right. So we got the base. We got the knockdown stitch taken care of. And we have our sand stitch. All right. Of the blimp taken care of. All right. All right, let's see. Any questions? Bam, bam. All right. All right, I think we're good with question. All right, there's a good one here. I personally like using the offset as I can get it at a mold around the letter. Yep. All right. So when you need to make that perfectly traced mold, yep, perfectly to use that one. All right, we have a question from Bevy Jean. So I'm outlining comic book pages, but they come in as black lines. So besides ghosting the SVG, can I change the the color of it so it's easier. Yeah, it all depends what software you're bringing it into. If you're bringing it into uh, if you're bringing it into something like Illustrator, where you actually have the vector lines, you could easily change it. But if not, you could dim the color here, right? Just the same way that I dim the color, because I brought my color in as black. So if you dim it, you can also you can also dim it on the software that you're using. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Bar, for the reminder. Don't forget to click thumbs up. Yep. Let's let YouTube know that we got that our class is in session. All right. Let them know that cool stuff is happening over here. All right. All right. Now we're almost there. Okay. We're almost there. Now we got to do the lettering. Okay. So let me hide these. All right. Lettering is always fun, right? I like to do text. That's one of my favorite things to do because that to me, text is like a make or break. Okay. Make or break. It's going to make or break your design because when people see logos and they see a text on top of that logo, their eye is going straight to that text. They want to see, is it perfectly straight? Is everything lined up? Okay. It's like one little bad thing on text and it pretty much throws everything off. All right. So of course our text always has to be on point. This text is slanted. Okay. So I kind of changed the perspective of it. It's not perfectly horizontal or perfectly squared, rectangled. All right. It's kind of at an angle. So to use keyboard text would be it'll be a challenge. All right. You can use keyboard text. Let me show you just real quick. Uh, let's go a little big here so you can see my text. All right. So when we're talking about text here, the world is yours. All right. It does have a feature to kind of change the perspective of your text. So I'll show you here. Block 2, um, metric. That's fine. Bam. Here, okay, here you have here where you could change the perspective of it, which is pretty cool. So let's go back up, create text. All right, H, you kind of change the perspective here. All right, but it might take you a while to get it down perfect. All right, but you have it right here. Okay, you could do the spacing a bit out, word, letter, word, line. All right, but you could fix it up and you can play with it until you finally get it. But I just think that you would have to first find the text. This one's a little different. All right. You would have to play with it, but I just think it would be a whole lot quicker if you just digitize it. All right. You just digitize it from the beginning. All right. And that way you get more control, right? It's all about control. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's digitize it the old fashioned way. Okay. Column stitch. All right. That's my favorite one for digitizing just your basic shapes. Okay. So here, bam. We're just going to copy this. Okay. So we've kind of been going very heavy on text. Okay. Oops. Hold on. It didn't like that. I had the wrong one selected. So let's try again. Let's go with a sand stitch. Sand. Okay. Let me take out all my underlay in case I have center run. I'll just keep a center run there. All right. Bam, bam. That's and another setting that I want to take out. Fills. Let's take out all these auto spacing. All right. So text. Okay. So we've been going heavy on text. We kind of know the fundamentals of text. We're really just creating shapes when we're doing text. Okay. So since we're slanted at an angle, we can use the control to kind of get our straight lines. But as long as it looks straight, we're good. Okay. Same thing here. Bam, bam. All right. that's what letters is. It's just a bunch of shapes combined. Okay, once you combine them, they become text. All right, so right now I'm just kind of doing it quick. Of course, you're gonna take your time when you're doing your text, but for the most part, I'm copying it pretty sharp right here. Right, you're always doing. So right now, I'm just tracing it, and then later I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna branch it just so it stitches it. Everything stitches out with no unnecessary cuts. All right, because that's we don't want cuts in our text. All right, if I were to leave it like this, it would have like 1,000 cuts right now. All right, but right here, okay. So a lot of times, by the time you find the perfect text, by the time you line everything up, okay, you could have been long gone and finished with digitizing. All right, for W's, M's, and those kind of weird letters, not weird letters, but not common letters, I like to use this one, column B stitch. All right, you just do one side at a time. So I do this side first, enter, and I do the inside part, bam, bam, keep it like that. All right, then do the same thing here. All right, so a lot of this stuff is just repetition over. Oops, hold on, I gotta do one side first. All right, bam, enter. Okay, do the right side, bam, bam. All right, okay, TT, bam, and then just do that over and over. All right, as you can see, all this crazy stuff is happening, and we clean all that up with the branching. I'll actually branch this one out so I can show you. Bam, do this side first, enter. All right, these letters, W, M's, they're a little different. They're like our special letters. They require more attention. Okay, now this is just a straight solid left to right. All right, all right, let's talk about one. Like always, we always talk about branching. Okay, let's select 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then I'm going to push I for branching. All right, I want to start on this leg, so somewhere in the middle here. Actually up here, because it's going to jump from E to W. And then where do I want to end? I want to end the closest point to this O, so it'll be right here. All right, bam, so there it goes. All right, it just adjusted itself, so it's going to do everything in one shot. So let's unhide all. Oh, hide all, hide others. If we replay this, all right, speed it up a bit. Does the underlay, and then it finishes the W. Cool, cool. All right, good stuff right there. All right, unhide all. All right, so let me see what time we're at. 1:23. All right, I want to make sure that we stitch this onto a beanie. So I want to show you how to go about that. We would finish the text, okay, but here I already have the final design is I have it here. Okay, so let me see what I got. So same thing, right? It's just the finishing of this job here. It's just I went ahead and did all the text, finished the text. So let's go ahead just so I can embroider this beanie. Let me show you a replay. Hide all this stuff. All right, let's change the world is yours. Let's change that color so you could see it. Let's make that purple. All right, I just made it some colors just so you could see it, right? It's not gonna actually be this color, but just so you can see the difference. All right, so we push R. All right, so we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with the knockdown stitch. All right, so this here, I'm using the squared version. So the third way that we talked about to create stitches. All right, so it's running the bottom, and then it's gonna change angles. Oh, it's gonna switch. Now it's gonna do the other angle. Okay, so the first angle was 60 degrees. Second angle was 120 degrees. All right, now it's gonna do the sand stitch of the blimp. All right, bam. It does that side first. Okay, now it's going to do our corners there, and now it's going to continue going. All right, as underlay here on the sand stitch, I just have a center run and a zigzag stitch, so that should be good enough. And my density on this sand stitch is 0.35. Okay, so usually the regular density is 0.37. Oh, hold on. Let me remove the artwork. Okay, let's try that again. All right, let's see the text, how it's going to stitch out the text. So this is after the branching and everything. Okay, so everything. The text is all done with no cuts. Okay, so I'm going to have a jump stitch. So you can see the jump stitch there. I'll just cut that jump stitch afterwards. Okay, so the W. All right, the O, of course, the most basic word. One of the most basic letters is the O. All right, the L is probably the easiest letter to digitize, or second easiest behind the letter I. And then we have this I right here, S, okay. All right, so everything is all being done with no cuts. All right, we'll cut it at the end. And let's see, bam, bam, bam. The world is yours. All right, there you go, right? Let's see what's our size of this, okay? So the size, just click here, size. We are looking at height, width 3.6. Okay, so 3.6. So it's a good size with 1.85. All right, cool, cool. Let me know if you have any questions as I'm going to transition from software to hooping and stitching this out. All right. All right, let me see. All right, looks like we're good. All right. Thank you very much, Legine. Awesome. Okay, appreciate that. All right. All right, let's see. Let's go. Let me set up this camera right here. Uh, all right, bam. Of course, you already know I like to make life easy with the Mighty Hoop. All right. Let me just switch this out. Bam. All right. Oh, all right. Good question right here. Estimated size of lettering. All right, let's check it out. Let's measure this stuff. Um, that's a good question. T M. Let's measure it. We are looking. We're at about 6.75. So you can say we're kind of like on the small side. All right. 7 here. All right. Once you get into below the 5, now you're kind of like you got to make some different adjustments. All right. But overall, okay. Let me add one thing. All right. So it's a good thing that you mentioned the size. Uh, let me bring back my object list and my list here. So for my letters, actually, let me choose one. Um, this one here is what I like. What I want to show you here. My pool comp, okay, 0.30. Okay, so the software always puts it as default. Most software puts it as default as 0.17. I like to go zero point 0.3. Sometimes you got to go thicker. All right, you got to bump it up even more on some. Okay, That's when I'm working with beanies. All right, because beanies, it's like it can become a problem child if you do not take into consideration all that extra fluff. All right. So even though you're putting 0.30 as a pool comp, sometimes you can't even tell. Okay, it kind of evens out with the fluffiness of the beanie. All right, good stuff there. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hoop this beanie up and then stitch out our. All right, so okay, you already know I like to keep beanies as basic as can be. Okay, so we have the Mighty Hoop Station 5.5 and just using regular cutaway, one piece of cutaway. All right, you want your tag. Let me see how the camera is. Yeah, camera looks good right here. All right, my tag, I want it to be facing away from me. All right, because this is the back side. Want to print on forward and okay. Um, what you can do, let me add this step, okay, because sometimes you don't want to do it without it. You can already select your center point, all right? Sometimes you could just eye it real quick. You could just say, bam, make your line right here. Okay, put a little piece of tape just to remind you where that center line is. Okay, you can also, you could do it two ways. You could do it this way where you just kind of eyeball it. Okay, you could just eyeball it right here. Okay, or, all right, I still sometimes use this when there's some designs where you need it to be perfectly centered. Okay, you could use your center ruler. Yeah, you could see it here. Okay, or you could use your table here as a center line. Okay, center it here. All right, so there's different ways to center your beanie. All right, whatever way you're kind of comfortable with. When you start, you're doing a lot of overkill. You're making sure and all that, but after a while, you're just using like this method here, where you're just all right, kind of eyeballing it a bit. Okay, then you can write a little F if you want to remember that this is the front. Hold on, front has to be your design has to be upside down. All right, cool. All right, then we're just gonna line this up. Okay, just want to have like even amount, two finger here, two finger here. All right, make sure you're okay. It's kind of obvious. Let me see. Yeah, you can see here. You could tell when these two distances aren't matching up. That means your design isn't straight. All right, but for the most part, okay, you're good here, good there. Um, back the tag is in the back. Okay, so our design, we want it to be um, top side of your design is up here. Okay, bottom side of your design going down there. Okay, of course, your bracket always facing towards the machine. Okay, and bam, ready to go. Okay, just give it a second look. Good here. Super straight right here. All right, so we are good to go. All right, let's take it to the machine. Let me just adjust the camera here. And then if you have any questions, let me know while while we're stitching here. Okay, let me just adjust this camera. All right, I just gotta roll it down. All right, give me one sec to adjust this. And Bam. All right. All right. I think we got a good view. Let me get a close up as close as possible. If you have any questions, drop them because once we start stitching, I can start answering questions. All right. All right. Let's get a super close up. I'm all about getting close ups on the stitches. Okay. Because I want you to see that knockdown stitch and how important it is. All right. Let me know if you got a good view on this. Looks like we're good. Okay. All right. Let me just adjust some stuff so I can fit right here. All right. Of course, we're always going to trace. Look good. Trace always first. Then we're going to center. Actually, I want to see where that top part. Yeah, looks all right. Actually, all right. Looks like we're good to go. Got my 3 colors. My 3 colors are, let's see. I have the knockdown stitch color. I have my the blimp, and then I have my letters. So it's 7, 5, 8. Okay, cool. And once we're ready to go, hold on. Let me verify we're good with this. Let me bring it down a bit. All right. Let me just check the camera, make sure we're good. Yeah, we look good. All right. Let's see. Bam, bam. Let's see. I got a quick question right here. When you save the design, do you save it as a working or stitching file? The machine only reads stitching file. Okay, but I do save it I do save it 2 different ways. I save it as a working file so I can go back and make any adjustments. And the machine, I save it as a stitching file when I take it to the machine. All right, good question there. What stabilizer are you using for the beanie? This is cutaway. I want to say three 3 ounces. Okay, I'll confirm with that one too. Okay, but 99% sure it is 3 ounces, and if not, it's at least a 2.5. All right. Um. All right. All right. Levit. All right. Good morning. Okay. Remember, we always have it on the replay. Okay. All right. Oh, this is a good one. I actually haven't even mentioned this. Thank you, Barb. Thank you for reminding me about all the stuff that I think about during the week, but then when it comes time for Saturdays, I for some reason forget about it. I don't see you use the water soluble topper on the beanie. Do you feel this is unnecessary and you are using ballpoint needle correct? Yep. Okay. Yes, I hate water soluble. Okay, water soluble. I hate it. I hate the cleanup. Okay, I have it here. Let me see if I'm gonna look for one right here. I haven't used it in so long that I don't even know where it's at. Okay, but yeah, I got it somewhere. I just hate the cleanup. I like the knockdown stitch, and I think if you lay down a knockdown stitch pretty clean, then you don't really need it. Okay, but some people like it, some people don't, so it's all a matter of preference. And yes, ballpoint needle with beanies. And can you show how you made the knockdown stitch larger around the background of the design? I missed that part. Yeah, yeah, that was all based off the offset. Okay, how far we went on the offset. All right, hold on. Let me push start so I can answer these questions while it's running. Okay, give me 1 sec. All right, let's push start. So it's gonna do the knockdown stitch first. All right. Yeah, we got a good view right there. Okay. I think we're zoomed in pretty good right there. Let me see what happens when I go into this mode. All right, hold on. Let's take it back here. All right, we'll keep it at this angle so you can see it. So right now it's doing that diagonal. It's doing that diagonal stitch. So how far are you from the bottom of the hat to the bottom of the pattern? Thanks. Um, I'm probably like a finger, like the distance of like one finger. We'll look at it when I go back to it. Oh, that I was actually answering Bevy Jean's question. How far are you from the bottom of the hat? All right. So it's probably like a finger, finger and a half. All right, just seems right. What speed would you run your machine when stitching a beanie? You could go pretty fast because it's flat, it's soft. Here right now, I think, what am I at right now? I'm like at 600 just because I'm live, and for some reason, if I pick it up, right, something's gonna happen, and I don't want the machine to stop right now. But usually, I run stuff anywhere from 800 speed. Okay. When I get down to the text, I actually speed. I go slower. The smaller the text, the slower I get because um, anytime yeah, small text can become an issue if you go too fast. All right, so our knockdown stitch, you can see it. It's like clear as day right here. All right, we actually have a real good view right here. So notice how when I lay down my design, it has a nice resting place right there. All right, so let's see. All right, so I have it on manual or on yeah on manual, so I could push. I just want to make sure these first stitches come down good. All right, so now it's gonna do the blimp. It's gonna do that sand stitch. Okay, let's try to get an even better angle. All right, this is actually a real good angle right there. I have the camera like literally right in front of the machine. All right, let's see. Audrey, I don't see the Ricoma as an available machine format. What are you using instead? DST, so Tajima. If it says like save as and you see different machine files, um, you could do it as Tajima. Usually that's compatible. DSTs. All right, good question right there. Yeah, that's the machine format. It's DST, D Delta Sierra Tango. All right, Janet, thank you, great class. Appreciate that. Yeah, I like to as you can see, let me go face mode real quick. All right, as oh yeah, this is good angle. Okay, as you can see, embroidery, I always talk about it, is it's the three triangles, of embroidery. Okay, so today we talked about digitizing, okay? Because without digitizing, we don't get to this part. Okay, we get to then we got to talk about the hooping. Okay, same thing with hooping. Okay, hooping is a make or break. If your hooping is not good, okay, then nothing's gonna be good, right? Everything kind of falls off. And then the third is the actual stitching. So it's like everything has led us to this point here. Okay, in reality, this is the easy part. Okay, the easy part is pushing start. To me, that's the easy part. The hard part is like that first hour and a half that we talked about, right? details, controlling stitches, controlling everything. That's that's the more difficult part. This part here, now once we get onto the machine, yes, you do have to worry about your tensions, right? You got to have your tensions. I probably haven't I probably haven't done an eye test here like in weeks, okay? Like in weeks. But usually once you get your stitches, once you get your eye test situated, you're good for a while, okay? Maybe that's another episode where we talk about eye test, okay? Because that's always important, okay? What what's the size of needle you are using? 75. These here, they're all 7511, even for the text. If I were to go smaller text, once I get into the 5 or below, I'm probably going 65.9. All right, good stuff. All right, let's see. Bevy Jean. So you said ballpoint needle, but what size do you usually run them? Yeah, yeah. So 7511. 7511. Once I get into small little details, once I get into small little details, um, hold on, let me we're definitely going 65.9. But the details aren't small enough to have to worry about that right now. All right, so all right, this is where I sometimes like for text here, if it's just a regular sand stitch, I would have just let it run. But sometimes this one is a hit or miss on this small little thread right there. Okay, that would affect potentially affect the outcome right there. So I just cut that right there. So this text, let's see. Yeah, I'll even slow it down. All right, so this text is it's all with in one shot. So I don't have any cuts. I'll cut it off after at the end. All right. See. All right, T-Town. I just ran 20 beanies yesterday. Took me most of the day with T. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it all depends what's the stitch count. Okay. Usually if you have a I like beanies because usually it's a low stitch count, right? Compared to like a big shirt or something. All right. Yeah, but 20 job project, pretty cool. All right. Barb, I have the Tajima thread tension gate and Toa case tension for testing. All right. The more you embroider, the more you learn when the tension, yeah. Eventually you get your tension good, you're good for a couple weeks, maybe months, but then eventually it goes off so much where you got to like bring it back and zero it back in. Okay, so yeah, you're not even when you're doing tension tests, you're not always doing it. Like I wouldn't say you're doing it every week. Okay, it's just once you notice issues, then you start doing it over and over. Uh, let's see, Donovan, do I have to put my machine on AM for the knockdown stitch or AA? No, no, no. You could keep it on AA, so automatic. That just means it's not gonna stop for you. Okay. Yeah, it's gonna. All right. I like to keep it on AM just to make sure color changes, and if I'm doing details, I like to keep it on AM. All right. If I'm doing details, I like to keep it. But for the most part, yeah, you could keep it on AA. That doesn't really matter. You want to do AM also if you're doing applique, if you want the machine to stop at certain color changes. All right. How do you keep track of what needle? Oh, okay. So this is a good question, okay? Because this was a headache when I only had one machine. It was a headache because I was using the same machine for hats and for polos and flats, and sometimes I wouldn't even know, right? I would kind of forget, and I would just swap it out, right? Just in case, I would just swap out the needle. Now this one that I'm using now. So on this side, that's my flat. I already know which what needles I have for flats. My last three needles. So 15, 14, 13. Those are 6511 needles. My first three, 7511 titanium. Everything else, titanium, they're all ballpoint. All right. All 15 needles on this machine, they're all ballpoint. And then my middle ones, they're just regular 7511. All right. So yeah, good question. I would say just have a dedicated, kind of make a list of what, if you have one machine, uh, make like 1 through 4 this needle, 4 through 8 this needle, 8 to 12 this needle, and then so on. All right. All right. Let me check this last one. Jay, I have 15 needle. I have 1 through 7. Yeah, yeah. Bam, bam, bam. Exactly. Okay, exactly. So you already know, you kind of have it categorized what's what. So yeah, 1 through 7, perfect. Ballpoint, you know that's gonna be your go-to side for ballpoint stuff, and then your 8 through 15 sharps. Okay, that way you'll have repetition of color thread. So you'll have blacks for your ballpoint, and then you'll have blacks for your sharp. All right, good stuff. All right. Let's check out our final stitch. All right, bam, bam. Let's get situated right here. All right, let's adjust the camera. All right, get a good angle right here. Rise it up a bit. All right. Oh, all right. Change this angle. All right. I think we got a good view right here. Switch the lighting here. All right, let's go full screen here. All right, bam. We got a good angle right there. All right, let's check this out. Right off, hot off the machine. Okay, so we have our jump stitch. We're gonna cut that right now. Cut our jump stitches right now. All right. So it looks very clean. Man. Cool, cool. Of course, we got to cut our cutaway. Let me get my scissors. So, all my stuff that I used to cut. Okay, so I like to keep my cuts just rounded. For beanie, you really don't have to worry about puckering too much. It's more like for polos, thinner type stuff. But I still have the habit of cutting my cutaway kind of rounded. All right. Bam, bam. Just want to cut these jump stitches real quick. All right. So if you saw my last video, I kind of showed you how I go about doing my jump stitches. All right. Of course, I use this guy here, this. All right. So just real quick, because it's a big difference when that jump stitch is not there. All right. Just cutting the jump stitches. You want to be careful when you're cutting your jump stitches that you don't cut the actual what do you call it? The knockdown stitch, okay? Because sometimes the knockdown stitch could get pulled up. Okay, we have one little thread right here. All right, so easy cleanup right there. All right, so main thing here, okay, main thing here was to get the text nice and legible. Okay, nice and legible. Okay, you want to kind of stretch this out a bit. Okay, and then notice that's the purpose of having cutaway back here. When you stretch this, okay, you see my design doesn't get all wonky. All right. If you try tearaway, if you try your design is gonna be all over the place. All right. So main thing here was to get our text nice and clear. All right. So it looks like we're super clear right here. All right. So all right, let me go on the. Let me just change cameras. All right. Hold on. All right. Know what you think? Looks pretty clean. Text, right? Text is as clear as can be. All right, we're looking good. The blimp, I just like how the blimp is kind of pointing towards up, right? So I'll put this design up for a free download. All right, so you could kind of follow along, see like the small little details that we talked about today. Okay, and then if you stitch it out, you kind of see the difference of the little small settings that we used. All right, hold on, let me see. Bam. Bam. Let me see if there's any questions. Let's see. We got Naomi. Good morning. Another awesome tutorial. Learning so much from your channel about the fundamentals and tricks to embroidery. My confidence in craftsmanship has improved immensely. Yes. Okay. That's my main purpose of this channel here, especially going live, is fundamentals. Because if your fundamentals are straight, okay, nobody could mess with you. All right, nobody can really mess with you, and you're gonna know why something's not right, something's not adding up. Okay, you can go back and you can figure out why something's not working. Okay, so yes, thank you, good looking out. All right, Barb, Naomi, it's great to be in a group that shares knowledge as well. Yes, all right, so I do appreciate everybody, especially Barb, right, everybody else that's putting in their 2 cents, right, because here, right, we have so much knowledge. Like if we combine all this knowledge together, right, as somebody has a question, somebody has different experiences, people use different types of items, all right, so it makes it very good to have all that information, all right, so I do appreciate that. All right, how often do you change your needles? As soon as a stitch starts acting up, okay, toss it. Actually, as soon as a stitch acts up twice, all right, we give it a warning the first time. We tell the stitch, hey, if you keep on, let's say, for example, a loop, okay, something's looping unnecessarily. So we don't really have a set. We don't take inventory on when did we place this needle, right? We just, when something starts acting up, we switch it out. Also, maybe we're cleaning the machine, maybe we're doing maintenance on the machine, we'll probably just change all the needles out in one shot. So no specific time, just when a needle starts acting up, okay, we give it one chance. We're like, all right, you messed up right here, you do it one more time, we switching you out. Okay, that's kind of like our guideline there. All right, bam bam. All right, thank you. Beanie looks great. Yeah, looks cool. I like it. Text is good. All right. This is great class. Look forward to each Saturday. Yes. All right. So I have a list of topics that I want to talk about, right? And it's like each topic is like exciting, right? It's like exciting to me. So it's always hard to choose what topic to go with the next week. So next week is definitely, I got like 3 different topics that I'm kind of debating what we should do. All right. But if you ever have a topic that you want to go talk about, okay. So uh knockdown stitches, okay, always a question that I get. So if I get recommendations or questions on certain things, then I turn it into a class, right? And I know we are in beanie season right now, right? It's like super cold right now here. So of course we got to talk about beanies. All right. Hold on. Let's go switch this out. Let's go solo mode right here. Let me turn off my light back here. All right, let me answer some questions here. Let me answer some let me answer some questions and then we'll call it a day. Okay. I think we did a good 2 hours today. Good information, right? The theme for today and also the theme just for every class, right? Is to have control of your designs. Even if you send out your designs, even if your digitizer did everything correct by the book, the way you're supposed to do it, settings change with different garments. So if one day something came out perfectly fine on the polo shirt, okay, now it's time to do it on a beanie. All right. By knowing this information, small little tweaks. Sometimes it's a small little input change of a number. Okay. It'll be from day and night. Okay. So it's always good to know this type of information. All right. Because a lot of times, especially when you're starting off and something doesn't go right, you might be blaming the wrong person, the wrong machine, the wrong part of the embroidery triangle. Okay. Maybe you're blaming the digitizing when it's really a equipment issue or vice versa. Maybe you're blaming the equipment when something is not adding up in your digitizing. All right. So it's always good to know the basic stuff and to know all the whys, the who, what, where, when, how, whys. Why did something do something? Okay, because you'll see a lot of times in the groups was like it was working fine, right? My design was working fine, and as soon as I put it on this, okay, it's no longer working good. All right, all right, bam, bam. All right, I appreciate that. Appreciate that, Naomi. I agree. Romero says, all right, bam. All right, Jose, saying hi, Jesse. All right, so that's the message to Jesse. Hey, what's up? And then Jesse replied, hi, Jose. All right, what's up? All right, good stuff. All right, let's see. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Just seems right. All right. A lot of anything that gets submitted to the class or any funds that comes in, trust me, it's coming back. All right, it gets funneled into the class and it comes back right every Saturday morning. It just comes right back at y'all. All right, so I appreciate that, Kingsbury Crafts. Thank you. Okay, where you located at? I'm like north of Chicago. Okay, probably like right below the border of Illinois and Wisconsin. All right, so I'm here. I'm actually here for one more year here where I'm at right now because I'm in the Navy. Um, so I'm stationed here in Great Lakes, and then by the end of this year, yeah, by the end of this year, I'll be moving to another state. All right. Hopefully, I'll be going West Coast. Right. That's where I kind of want to go after here. All right. All right, Lisa. I just joined. Is he finished? Yeah. We're wrapping it up, but this is gonna be available on the live, all right? So we can repeat it. I also go back. I go back and I look at the class one more time. So in the evening, I'll go back and look at it because I learn just as much as you all learn, right? I learn because there are certain things where I'm like, okay, next time I gotta talk about like this, or I didn't really go into detail about this certain setting here, which next time. So I'm taking notes, just like all y'all might be taking notes. Okay, I'm taking notes also. If there's any feedback, how to make this class better. So I do receive emails, I do receive messages, Facebook messages like, hey, I recommend you do this, I recommend you do that. Okay, trust me, I take all that feedback Okay, anything that I seem like, hey, you know what, that's a good idea. I do accept all type of feedback. All right, it is very good. It makes the class stronger, and believe it or not, everybody that's dropping questions right now, okay, you're helping out a lot of people in the future, right? A lot of people that are watching this in the on the replay, okay, they might have the same questions that you're having. So that helps me, right? Because I kind of have uh 20, 30 things on my mind while I'm doing the live, right? Because I'm still trying to pushing buttons and taking control and taking care of other sideline stuff. Okay, so by you throwing questions at me, it makes the class way better. All right, especially hard questions. I like hard questions. um I like questions where makes me think, and maybe I have to come back with an answer, right? And maybe I have to do research, because believe it or not, I'm always experimenting and I'm always learning new things. And then I just return whatever I kind of learned in that experimentation. I kind of bring it back and I let you guys know about all that stuff too. All right. All right, Robin. Appreciate that. All right. Very good here. Oh, Navy veteran here. All right. So I'm talking about. All right. I'm an instructor. I'm an instructor here at Great Lakes. All right. So about to doing my last year of shore duty. Okay. So we're gonna have goals next year. Well, I might be on a ship, or most likely I'm gonna be on a ship next year. So I'm gonna transition from Saturday morning classes to something else. All right. So I'm kind of like working in the background for next year too. All right. So a lot of big projects happening behind the scenes. Okay. All embroidery related. All right. So definitely big goals next year also. All right, Naomi, I missed the live patches. Tried to download the file, but it wouldn't upload. How can I get it? All right. If you can, message me on Facebook and let me know which file you're like, which one exactly, like the DST, the EMB file, and then which software did you use? All right, we'll definitely get you situated right there. All right. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you for your service. Yeah. Um, all right. Donovan, how can I make my contribution? All right. Here on YouTube, it allows you to do a super chat or something like that. That's always appreciated. I'll also put links down. I'll put links on the description. I have it on my other videos. It has Cash App. I've never really used Cash App, but it's there. It's available. PayPal also. So appreciate that. All right. Yeah, Jesse. Good morning. All right. Appreciate that. All right. Making new dreams come true. Thank you, Romero. Another great lesson. Yeah, I really think we had a real good lesson. Okay, I think we dive deep into settings. To me, I like settings. All right, especially software. Especially when you first get your software, you're like overwhelmed with settings. It's like, oh wow, how am I supposed to know all these? There's like hundreds of numbers, right, on the settings, and you don't know. None of it makes sense at the beginning, but as soon as everything starts making sense, that's when it becomes fun. All right. And when digitizing, when embroidery becomes fun, like it's game over after that, right? Nobody can mess with you. Once digitizing becomes fun, okay, it's game over after that. All right. And the only way it becomes fun, okay, this is the way embroidery becomes fun, is when you know what you're doing. All right. That's when it became fun for me, because trust me, I started just like everybody else, where I didn't know left to right, up and down. Okay. And it's never fun when you're learning something, right? When you're like beginning, little small errors that can easily be handled with a click of a button or a quick, simple change. Okay. It makes life so hard. It gets frustrating. But as soon as you learn the rules, as soon as you know the whys, the who, what, where, when, how, whys, all right, it becomes fun, and sky's the limit once it becomes fun. All right. All right. Good stuff. All right, appreciate this. Lots of learning this morning. Thanks for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate everybody for being here, because I think we learned a lot. All right. Barb, like always, thank you very much. Such great information. Thanks for sharing your information with us. Yeah, and I'm always excited for the next show. So like I'm kind of like wrapping it up here, but I'm already ready for the next show. Like if I had the time, I would do a live show tomorrow. All right. But I can't, right? I can't. But I would love. I actually have everything ready, laid out. Okay. One thing that I do want to start doing. Okay. I want to do a live show Saturday, which we're doing right now, and a a regular edited video on the weekday. All right, and then kind of just do that. So live weekend, um, and then a edited video on the weekday. Maybe drop it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe. Um, and then if I kind of get in that zone, just do like maybe Monday, go live Monday, just questions only. Like, hey, let's just knock out freestyle, like a freestyle Monday, and just do questions. All right. So that's my goal this year. I want to burn out by the end of this year. Like, trust me, I got a lot of moving pieces happening, but I would rather burn out this year when I have the chance to do so. Okay, because next year it might be a little different next year. All right. So that's what I'm saying. Anything where you're providing feedback and I'm kind of getting information from you guys, all right, is always good. All right. All right. Freestyle Monday. I like it. All right. Yeah, I'm very tempted to like start that. All right. So actually, let me see. Where's this message? Where is this? All right. Actually, the live show with questions. All right. One Sagoli, wonderful detail lessons. All right. So Sagoli actually recommended that in one of the comments, right, earlier this week. She's like, "Hey, you should have a dedicated day where you're only taking questions." All right. So that's where I'm kind of getting um, that freestyle Monday. Okay, that's kind of where it came out from. All right. So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of what I do is just feedback on what I'm getting. All right. Blah 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 blah. All right. When digitizing, why create jump stitches? Because I don't want the machine to stop. Have to make a cut, pick up the needle. Okay. I'll rather just cut it. So you saw how quick it took me just to cut that jump stitch. Okay. Um, yes, exactly right here. Less trims, right? We want that machine just to be purring, right? That purr. Okay. You want that purr from the machine, right? Dragging. Hello? Yep, yep. Catch us on that replay. Uh, bam, but then you have to go back and trim. Yeah, yeah. So it's all preference, right? It's all preference. If you want to cut it, bam. Just all you got to do, go to your software, insert cut. Okay, and then it's good. All right. So everybody has preference, right? There's millions of ways to do stuff. It's all depending on what you want to do. Okay. Some people like to cut each letter. So let's say the world is yours. They'll stitch out the letter T, cut that, start on the letter H, cut that, start on the letter E, cut that, and right. That's a lot of stoppage, right? That's like overkill, right? But it's all preference. So all right, 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 right. Yeah, appreciate that. We'll be here whenever you load it. Yeah. All right, appreciate that. All right, so we did do good over 2 hours today. I want to appreciate everybody that hanged out today because I know, right, as a embroiderer, as a small business owner, how important Saturdays are. Okay, so if you are here on a Saturday morning, I appreciate you because I value Saturdays very much as you value it. All right, so that's why I like to start early in the day. That way we get all our training done here, and then we have the rest of the day to take care of business, to take care of family and personal stuff. All right. So want to thank everybody. Remember, we're here every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. And I'll see you next week on the live. All right. Peace out.